Welcome back on WatchAdvisor on YouTube. It's Alexander speaking, your host, and I do have the pleasure today to present you the new Breitling Endurance Pro collection.
Don't forget to subscribe and to hit the bell to get our latest notifications.
And in case you're doing this for the first time, you have the chance to win one of the Bose noise cancelling headsets. Each month we're giving away one of them. Take your opportunity and win the Bose noise cancelling headsets. The Endurance Pro collection of Breitling is a completely new watch collection being introduced these days and coming to the retailers also these days. So it's a brand new collection, never seen before at Breitling. So you will see already the different colors in between the watch being filmed inside with more artificial light and outside with natural light. You will see there are really vibrant colors, at least the red, the orange and the yellow one. The blue one is a more decent version, and the white one, yeah, that's the conservative in terms of the most easiest probably to combine with other colors. So, and in the entire family of Breitling, these watches are positioned among the triathletes. So it's the triathlete squad, and those triathletes are supposed to wear those watches. And as most of us, I suppose, will never ever do a triathlon, I allow myself to present the watch a little bit differently, not as a tool a triathlete would probably wear, but I would say that the Endurance Pro collection has a real feel of the big easy. I was saying it is the real feel of the big easy. Why do I say this? It's a big watch. Yes, the watch has a diameter of 44 millimeters and still is ultra light. The entire watch with the caoutchouc strap weighs only 64 grams. So that's really something. And this makes the watch pretty attractive in the sense that you don't feel it on your wrist. Even though it's 44 millimeters, it's not a small watch. That's astonishing and cool. 64 grams. These 64 grams are due to the fact that Breitling is using a material called Breitlight. Bright like Breitling and light like light. Combining both words, Breitlight makes the word of the case material. And this material was introduced in the year 2016 by Breitling. It is 3.3 times lighter than titanium and 5.8 times lighter than stainless steel. The material is non-magnetic, thermally stable and hypoallergenic. And what is also very nice to feel when you put the watch on your wrist, it feels in the second when you put it on your wrist warm. There's no cold feeling when you put that material on your wrist. So the material is high resistant to scratches, traction, corrosion, and so on, of course. And good thing to know, it is 100% made in Switzerland. So it's Swiss made. And it has a lug-to-lug distance of 52 millimeters. So, as you have probably already noticed whilst seeing the first pictures of the watches on my wrist or filmed in the sun, or these pictures in my office where I have my little filming studio, you have already seen that the hands of the chronograph are jumping. So all the hands that are in motion are jumping. And this is a sign that we are dealing with a quartz movement. Yes, that is correct. It is a quartz movement. And the quartz movement, applying a quartz movement here makes sense in my opinion, because it would make no real sense on the other hand side to implement an expensive, complicated mechanical movement, because this is a watch that should be used as your second watch, as the watch when you go out, when you have fun, when you go on vacations, when you make sports and you are not so keen to wear a smartwatch. And I know many of you don't want to do this, and this is a very nice alternative if you are outside and you're not keen to wear either a Garmin or your Apple Watch or a Fitbit or what it might be. So this is the, let's say, only connection I'm doing with the triathlon squad of Breitling. I would say we do all probably run, I do some sports, I do mountain biking, many other sports. I don't do any triathlons, but I can imagine to wear this watch for my outdoor leisure activities as an alternative. So now let me pick, and I will pick the yellow one. Here, the yellow one, and I will quickly run you through the functions of the chronograph so you see what the chronograph is able to do. I hope you so far liked the pictures you saw, the various pictures of the watches in different lighting conditions and from different angles. And now just let me put away the other watches. I'll be back in the next second, and I picked the yellow one to show you the chronograph functions. The movement that powers the Breitling Endurance Pro watch is a quartz movement. I just mentioned this before, and it's not just an average quartz movement. It's a so-called SuperQuartz movement. It is a quartz movement that is thermo-compensated, and these thermo-compensated SuperQuartz movement coming from ITA, from Swiss manufacturer ITA, do perform 10 times better than a regular quartz watch. So if I say 10 times better, I will give you some figures to highlight this. So the average deviation from zero, let's say, of such a movement is plus minus 10 seconds per year. No, you didn't understand it wrong. It's really per year, 10 seconds per year. This makes 0.027 seconds a day, so almost nothing. So you can really rely on the watch, and by operating the chronograph, you can also rely on the measurements you are taking with it. So let me quickly show. You have two push pieces, one here and one here, start, stop, and reset, or split second. So it's a split second chronograph. The split second chronograph will show you the 1/10 of a second. You have here a subdial. You see the 2, you see 4, you see 6, you see 8. So it's 1/10, 2/10, 3/10, 4/10, etc. until you have 1 second. So you really have the subdivision of the correct subdivision of an entire second. You have a 30-minute counter here, then you have the running second here, and last but not least, you have the date. It's the 19th today, you have the date here. So I will start the chronograph, and what is now interesting to see is the fact that the chronograph now is showing the 1/10 of a second in kind, let's say, is showing it in kind of a little movie. You see the second running, but what of course is happening now is that due to the fact that this hand is running, it's consuming lots of energy. So what will happen when once the minute hand has finished its first round or first minute, exactly when it will arrive here, this subcounter will stop to run. Makes no sense to preserve energy and to conserve more energy to make battery life even better. And battery life, as Breitling says, is about 3 to 4 years. So in a time period of 3 to 4 years, nothing to do with the watch, nothing. Attention now, please watch correctly. Tack, there we go. The 1/10 of a second has stopped, and now, of course, reading of a measurement or a lap or whatever you want to measure is possible. You just need to press the stop button. And of course, you can read now. We have been measuring for 15 seconds and 4/10 of a second, 15 and 4/10. So continuing the measurement here will then show that if I take a split second, I have been stopping it. You see that the hand has been stopping at 21 seconds. At 21 exact, to be precise, 21 and 8/10 of a second. And now, whilst I am still talking to you, of course, in the background, the hand would continue to move. And now we are doing the reading of a lap time, but of course the watch continues to run. And once I repress the reset or lap button, lap push piece, yeah, here, you will see, there you see, it catched up the time. I was talking approximately 40 seconds and it has been catching up the time and now continues the measurement I've been starting before with the push piece. At 2 o'clock, you see, we are timing now for 2 minutes and yes, 19 and 20 seconds. So once again, if we want to take, if we want to stop the measurement or the our little run or jog or whatsoever we have been timing with, we press here, we can read the seconds, the 10th of a second. And of course, to just repeat that once again, you have the possibility to measure a split time. The watch will stop, continue to run and catch up as soon as you press the lap or the reset button or push piece at 4 o'clock again. So these are the functions. Then what else can I show you? Yes, the watch, all the watches, not only the yellow one, all the watches do have a pulsometer scale. You can see a nice pulsometer scale in the position of the rehaut, so the outer side of the dial. The outer side of the dial. In French, we call that rehaut. And there you have a pulsometer scale. You need to count 30 positions and then you stop and then you will be able to read your pulse. Then the watch features a bezel with a compass rose and this bezel turns in both directions, of course. There's no clicking. It is a bezel that is not turning easily, so you cannot by coincidence move it or manipulate it. This is not possible. But of course, when you want to adjust it, it's going smoothly. You don't have to apply too much force. It's perfectly fitting to the watch. So then, of course, I want to show you the little crown protection in yellow, all the watches. I can take the yellow one now. You see here the yellow one. This is orange. Linz, Alexander, please. Does have the same crown protection. This is red. And you see it has the same crown protection here in red. I take the white one. The white one also has that nice crown protection in white. And if I take the blue one, also the blue one features this nice crown protection in blue. There is a nice and pretty useful feature I want to show you with that quartz movement. So I will stop the watch and show you something interesting. So it now is reset. I will pull out the crown in the first position. And what you have seen now is that all the hands have been going back to their 0 position. And just in case you are either changing the battery or if you the watch is if the watch falls down or has to go through a severe shock, and it could happen that one of the hands, the position, 0 positioning of one of the hands of the chronograph is no longer accurate, you can, by pulling out the crown of the first position and define now, as you saw, I've been pushing the push piece at 2 o'clock, and it was the central hand that gave me it's okay that it is him to be adjusted. Then you can synchronize the 10th of a second, and then you can, by pushing again, you will see that the hand of the 30-minute counter will move. And what happens if it is not correctly synchronized by 0? You say, okay, let's talk with the central hand. I pull here, and then you can, by pushing or staying on the push piece, readjust the 0 position, the exact 0 position of that hand. So I've done it. Now let's talk with the 10th of a second hand, and the same applies here. You can see I can either manually by pushing reset it or by keeping my finger on the push piece. There we go. Once again, completely realigned with the zero, position. Again, now I will talk with the 30-minute counter on the watch. The same applies here. I can either do it step by step, or I keep my finger on a push piece and then I'm able to readjust it. 29, 30, yeah, there we go. You see, aligned perfectly, and I will close again. And so everything, all the hands are now perfectly aligned. This is useful when the watch drops or you, it is has to go through some severe shocks. It can be with a quartz watch that the hands do get out of their zero position. That happens. So this is a function. What else do I want to show you quickly? The case back. The case back is always the same with all the watches, and there is no difference. The watches have all closed case backs. We see here manufacture en Suisse, that means Swiss made. Then we have Breitling, certifié chronomètre. Yes, of course, it's a chronometer, a certified chronometer. And you see Endurance Pro, and of course the waterproofness of 100 meters. One last thing, Breitling claims that the new Endurance Pro collection takes its inspiration from the Breitling Sprint, like sprint to sprint. Yes, the Sprint collection from the 1970s. Now please do me a favor, Google Breitling Sprint, and you will see lots of watches that carry the name Sprint, that were, yes, sporty watches. But please tell me honestly, is there a similarity to the watches you see on the screen? I don't see this similarity, but I more see a similarity to a very well-known watch that was the very first time introduced in the year 1989, and it is the famous legendary Tag Heuer Formula 1 chronograph. I assume some of you, when I just said this, do remember the watch. I have to say this was a very fine, a very nice chronograph. I owned one at the time being. I still have it. I don't think it works anymore because the battery, of course, is no longer running. There's no more battery in it, but I owned such a Formula 1 chronograph, and this Breitling Endurance does remember me very, 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 very much. Please do not, when you Google it, compare it with the new ones, but with the one that was presented in the year 1989, and then tell me if I'm wrong or not. Let's discuss this in the comment section. Comments are open. Please go and have a look, and you will, by comparing the two pictures, see that, might be true. At least I don't see really where this watch is taking its inspiration from the Breitling Sprint watches. But never mind, that's not a problem for me and not a deal breaker for sure. And I must say, by reintroducing such a watch, Breitling is taking over some of the segment that was very attractive in the time being. These Formula 1 chronographs were very useful, doing exactly the same what this watch is supposed to do, being your second watch, your watch you use on leisure activities, sport activities, when you're outdoors, when you're on holidays, when you want to wear a nice watch from a big name like Breitling, and you don't want to be as, let's say, carefully taking care of your watch if you would wear, let's say, a watch that is quite much more expensive. So thank you very much for watching the video. As I just ask you, please leave your comments and then let's discuss what I have just been saying you. Give me your feedback to the watch. I personally think that this new collection is cool. We are not triathletes, so we are going to probably wear it as non-triathletes, but still have fun with a watch. Ultralight, 64 grams, and pretty cool. Bye-bye, and see you very soon.